Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Higurashi. We have finished Tarai Mawashi last episode and we're starting a brand new arc. We're just gonna go right to Tsukiotoshi and see where that goes, you know? Normal Keiichi, smiling Keiichi. Maybe this one's blessed. Excuse me. Exorcism. Okay. So the last one was like a pacifist route. What is this one? This chapter is an alternative take on Totoro Goroshi. Hmm? Okay. It can be read after the completion of Mayatashi. Keiichi and his friends work together to help Satoko after her uncle returns to Hinamizawa once again. Maybe this is like exorcism as in exorcising Satoko's high-level syndrome? Because we still don't know about the syndrome stuff at this point, but maybe instead of Keiichi going on his own and killing Teppei, he'll kind of do the go thing and actually like work together and find a way to save Satoko. Probably not in the same way as Do, but like maybe they'll still kill Teppei just as a team. Maybe Keiichi won't go crazy. Lots of possibilities. So let's start this up. Save the Toko.
幸せになるために彼らは命を懸けて努力した。お互いがお互いを分かり合い、固い信頼で結びついていたはずだった。
Higurashi.
優しさ、思いやり、信頼、愛情、そんな思いが裏返って白から黒へと変わっていった時、絆はもろくも崩れ去って思いもしなかった悪夢が彼らを包み込んで心の闇をさらけ出していく。
So this is Rena, right?
突き落とし。
Tsukiotoshi.
誰も憎んでいたわけじゃなかった。ただほんの少しの誤解が全てを変えてしまった。
Well, that's not good. Committing a crime isn't scary. The scary thing is admitting it. Being punished isn't scary. The scary thing is knowing the pain of it. Neither crimes nor punishment will disappear from this world because humans are unable to know the future. I see. How many days has this gone on? Satoko's seat was empty again. So not at the Watanabe this time, but that makes sense since a larger chunk of this story is based before the Watanabe, and of course killing Teppei on the Watanabe. So yeah, we're before it, obviously. As we sat near Satoko's seat, we couldn't help but look in its direction. Nevertheless, we all implicitly continued carrying on like everything was normal. Of course, it's no big deal. I'm sure she just had a cold. Satoko will return tomorrow and show us her usual innocent smile. Surely. Yet I couldn't help but feel a lingering unease pooling in the bottom of my heart. Something was going on with Satoko, there's no doubt about it. In that case, sitting idly with our hands behind our backs won't accomplish anything, right? I wonder if this... Oh, maybe this is Totoro involving Shion. I guess if it's post-Mayatashi. That made sense. Everyone else was probably thinking the same thing. I wonder if Shion kills Teppei instead of Keiichi. That could be something. Looking down at Satoko's empty seat and sighing profusely. This stagnant atmosphere was becoming unbearable. So he doesn't know about Teppei yet, does he? Rita-chan bit her lip and turned her eyes downward as she nodded to me, a response she'd already repeated several times now. Okay, yeah. So we're pretty early on. Can't be helped? Those words seemed to negate the past, the present, and the future. All of it. More than anything, I was amazed to hear those words straight up from the mouth of Rita-chan, who was closer to Satoko than anyone else. Rita-chan remained silent and avoided answering my question. Rita-chan was definitely taking this the hardest. Deep down, I understood that. But with all the blood rushing through my head, calm, rational decision-making was no longer possible.
訳を教えてくれ。結果だけ言われても俺は納得できないぞ。リカちゃん、何か知ってるんだろう？なって。
No bully. As my words grew more piercing, Rita-chan's shoulders tensed as though in fear. Still, she wouldn't look me in the eyes. With a look like she was giving up, she closed her mouth. I quickly dialed back the pressure and regained my composure, with an ache in my chest.
ごめん、リカちゃん。俺、興奮しすぎた。
I apologized sincerely. I wasn't alone here. Rita-chan felt the same way. Thinking about it that way, I couldn't help but feel embarrassed and apologize once more.
圭一は悪くないのです。謝る必要はないのです。
Rita-chan briefly shook her head, then looked down with a shadow hanging over her eyes. Once again, the classroom was enveloped in deep silence. Because a person who was supposed to be here wasn't here. Everyone was upset by Satoto's sudden, inexcusable absence. I was surprised myself to realize how much Satoto's absence had shaken my heart. And then it inevitably reminded me of how helpless I am, how insignificant. I'm just a common student, a powerless kid.
ひょっとして。
Suddenly the silence was broken. Rena's eyes were open wide, like she had just thought of something.
さとこちゃんのおじさんが帰ってきたんじゃ。
Uncle? After that one unexpected word, Rita-chan looked down and her shoulders began to tremble. Nevertheless, Rena moved in closer and crouched down to look her in the eyes. I recognized that she was doing this gesture to alleviate Rita-chan's tension.
さとこちゃんのおじさん帰ってきたのかな。
Kana? Sad kana? But Rita-chan remained silent, neither confirming nor denying anything. When Rena noticed that reaction, she barely managed to give Rita-chan a smile, but there was still a precarious light in her eyes.
レナ、それどういうことだよ。おじさんって何なんだよ。
Rena quietly looked back toward Rita-chan. Nevertheless, she remained silent. When Rena saw that reaction, she looked down and quietly began to speak.
3年前のことだよ。
3 years?
さとこちゃんの両親
Oh,
が
yeah.
事故で亡くなった後、
Parents
おじ夫婦が
got
2人の保護者に
yeeted.
なったの。そしてそのままさとこちゃんの家に住むようになった。
It was an incredible story, far beyond anything I could imagine. Satoto's aunt and uncle became her guardians and took over her house at the same time. Satoto and Satoshi were relegated to a tiny room and forced to spend their days in terrible living conditions. Their aunt and uncle would never stop arguing with each other, and they would often vent their frustrations by taking it out on Satoto. What form did that take? Rena went quiet, so I was left to my imagination. So Satoto was cornered, both physically and mentally. However, her aunt was murdered, and Satoshi went missing last year on the night of the Watanagashi. Satoto's uncle fled the town immediately afterwards, fearing the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Though Satoto has been feeling lonely ever since, living a peaceful life with Rita-chan has helped her heal those wounds. However, he is back.
のこのこ帰ってきたんだ。
And it's not wholesome teppe that we all know and love from Go Sotsu.
あの男は北条哲平という男は
My boy.
本当に乱暴で
It's
ガ
gonna
サツで
be
ひどいや
weird.
つ。
Weird seeing him back being evil. I mean, we saw him in the live drama, but that was like that was like a meme version.
強い者には媚びへつらって弱い者で憂さ晴らし。 思い出すだけでヘドが出そう。
Strong words, though. True at this point. Those harsh words didn't sound like Rena. Satoto's uncle must have truly been horrendous.
きっとまた懲りずにさとこちゃんをこき使って、そして
True?
今の話本当なのか？だったら早く助けないと。このままじゃサトコは。
分かってる。でもそう簡単にはいかないんだよね、みーちゃん。
Uh-oh. After saying that, Rena looked back with a look of disgust on her face. Mian had been standing there silently the whole time. She fumbled to maintain her composure after suddenly hearing her name.
やるだけ無駄、そう思ってるんだよね、
Yep.
みーちゃんは。そこまでは思ってないけど、状況は優しくないよ。
The situation isn't so simple. I didn't understand what she was getting at, so I began to open my mouth, but just then Rena cut in with an explanation.
去年も同じことがあってね、おじさん夫婦がさとこちゃんにひどいことしてるってみんなで沖宮の生活相談所に訴えたの。でも
We got to round
さと
two
こちゃん自身が
of,
何もされてないって言い張って
of the second Great War of Hinamizawa.
それから二人の嫌がらせは逆にエスカレートしちゃったの。
The previous intervention only resulted in even more cruelty. Indeed, if that was how it happened, I can understand why they were hesitant to step in again. Then what? What else can we do?
私たちがジタバタしたからって何も変えられないってことだよ。悲しいけどさ。でもサトシ君は変えようとした。
After that one word from Rena, silence once again swallowed the classroom. Then, all at once, everyone turned to her. Holding their breath, they gazed at her like she had violated a sacred rule.
だからサトシ君は
Oh. Rena's words were interrupted by the sound of a fist violently slamming down in the desk.
その話はやめろって前にも言ったでしょ。
Rena and Mian were best of friends, but the two of them were staring each other down in a fit of rage. So are they implying that they know Satoshi killed the ant? I mean, it comes to reason, but I don't think they have, besides like Shion, but it's just kind of weird that everyone else in the classroom would know, I guess. How strange. No, everything seems completely out of place here, like a scene from another world. Until now, I believed that we were all the best of friends. Ordinarily, Mian would be the one taking the initiative, with Rena being supportive. But now this scene before my eyes felt completely the opposite. What on earth? It feels like the gears are all out of alignment. I've never seen this before, and I've never thought I'd see them act this way. It filled my heart with disappointment and unease. Even so, there was no time to hold back. This was a serious problem and it would only get worse.
ここで言い合いしてる場合じゃないだろう。なんとかしてサトコを救い出す方法を考えないと。
でもどうやって？一度失敗してるんだよ。子供の私たちに何ができるっていうの、ケイちゃん。
俺たちにだって何かできることがあるはずだ。
What about you asked your parents? That's how the whole child consultation arc started, because I just asked for some advice.
みんなで考えを出し合えばきっと。
Though I said that, I couldn't think of anything concrete. When I said they appealed to the child consultation center last year. Oh. But the center decided their family problems should be settled within the family, so in the end nothing came of it. Okay, so they actually appealed last time. I guess they just didn't push as hard as they did in Higurashi, with like multiple appeals. Total strangers are really limited in what they can do for us. In fact, there's a possibility that meaningless, self-righteous behavior would only exasperate Satoko's suffering. It's not how you spell exasperate, is it? I mean, I guess it is. In that case, instead of appealing to the child consultation center, it would be more effective for us to do something else for Satoko.
そうだ
No, my original Higurashi suggestion still stands. Can you like film it? I know it's like early, but like there's some sort of recording devices. Neon, buy something. There is an organization more powerful than the Child Consultation Center, a senior group capable of leading all the power in Hinamizawa. Uh-oh. Sonozakis. Yes, the Sonozaki family. Surely, surely something could be accomplished by harnessing the power of the three families leading the village.
ミオお前そのザッキの
Oh
次期当主なんだ
no.
だから有
Tragic.
力者に頼んでサトコを救い出してくれよ
She is blacklisted.
何言ってるのケイちゃん。次期当主だからってそんなこと簡単にできるわけないでしょ。
どうしてだよ役所とかでもそのザッキの鶴の一声で動くんだろだったらサトコを一人助けるなんて簡単なことじゃないのか
だから無理なことは無理。
Yeah. To be fair, Mian literally can't do anything.
無茶言って困らせないでよ。
Mion's words left me utterly helpless, as if she was completely dismissing me. Her cold attitude only made me feel more uncomfortable. Impossible? Absurd? How can she decide that right from the beginning? Besides, at a time like this, isn't Mion usually the one to push us forward?
ミオお前
True.
さっきからどっちの味方なんだよ
どっちって。
お前がその気になって動けば御三家だってどうにでもなるんじゃないのか
I mean, they wouldn't, though.
村の誰かを守るためなら全員で戦うのがひなみさんじゃなかったのか
Mion wore a grim expression as she let out a hoarse moan. Yeah, I understand. It's frustrating to be on the receiving end of a tirade like this, isn't it? But that submissive attitude touched a nerve, so I pushed even harder.
ただ黙って見てるだけはねえだろ
Oh man, and you know what? It's funny because we're not even gonna get the Rena pop off, I think. Because this was the really good scene where Rena clapped back at Keiichi. But I don't know if she's gonna because she's pissed right now at Mion.
現にサトコは傷ついてるんだぞ
だけど前はサトコ自身が拒絶した。否定したんだよ。今回だってまた同じことの繰り返しに決まってる。繰り返さないためにも何とかしようよ。このままじゃサトコちゃん本当に危険だよ。
I mean, also Rena kind of implied that she wants to follow Satoshi's footsteps and K them.
説得するしかないのかサトコ
あのね、決定を下すのは私たちじゃない。いろんな人のいろんな意見があっていろんな見方があるんだよ。
No, Mion.
ケイちゃん、ことの深刻さ分かってる？これって一人の人間の人生に関わる重大なことなんだよ。
分かってないのはミオンの方だろ
じゃああんたは承知の上かよ、前原圭一。
Oh man, dude, I think my prediction's just wrong. I was like, oh, maybe this is a Unity episode, but no, everyone's hating each other more than usual. Or just in general. Mion suddenly looked up. She looked straight into my eyes as she was staring down an enemy.
本当はケイちゃん、ヒーローを気取って楽しんでるだけじゃないの？レナは心優しい魔法使い？
Magician? Uh-oh.
ばっかみたい。あんたたちこそ偽善者だよ。ひどいよ、みーちゃん。ひどい。私が非道だ
She's
ったんなら、
freaking
あんたた
pissed.
ちは下道だよ。
She's tilted Mion. This is a rare sight.
ごたごたごたく並べるばっか。何かあったら
It's actually kind of
その
funny.
崎って。その崎は魔法使いか？神様か？そのくせ自分たちは言うだけで自分の手は汚さないつもりなんでしょ。
Kinda based.
卑怯なくせに私に説教するな。 都合のいい時だけ園崎の名前に頼って。もうたくさん、もういい加減にしてよ。
So tilted. My girl. Rarest Mion, tilted Mion. Hey, Lamau, Shion. I wonder if Shion likes Satoko at this point. It's possible. Post Mayatashi. After the blessed stream. Because we see her in Minaduroshi, but... Yeah. Suddenly the classroom door slid open. Shion was standing at the doorway. Her face looked pale and she seemed visibly exhausted for some reason.
非道ですか。そ
Uh
れど
oh.
ころじゃないですね。そんなん
Why
じ
are
ゃ
you
足り
even
ない。
here?
この人には。だってお姉は鬼なんでしょ。
Here to tilt me on more?
つま先からてっぺんまで血の一滴一滴までね。
Uh oh.
シオン、お前なんでここに。
Slam. Shion violently slammed the door, then threw a glare in Mion's direction.
ちょっとね、聡子のことでお姉に相談をって思いましたけど、どうやら無駄みたいですね。
Bro, I think we're down to like a killing squad with Shion, Keiichi, and Rena.
聡子のご両親、つまり北条家
Here we
が
go.
ダム誘致賛成派だったことはご存知ですよ
The
ね。
missing information.
なんとなくだけど、うん。
当時北条家以外のほぼ全員がダムに断固反対していた。彼らにとって北条家は裏切り者に過ぎません。特に園崎家にとってはね。北条家は四面楚歌でした。当初は交流断絶くらいの報復だったはずが、だんだんエスカレートして完全な無視と冷遇へと様変わりしていきました。事情は今でも変わりません。だからひなみ沢の人間は北条家のいざこざに口を出したりしない。もちろん聡子がどうなろうとね。特に園崎家はそういう態度なんですよね。
でもダムに賛成してたのは貞子の両親だろ。だったら貞子には関係ないじゃないか。
True, but unfortunate culture. However, Shion only responded to my rebuttal with a commiserating smile. Then,
ここはひなみ沢なんですよ。
that one sentence dismissed my ideals as a shallow construct and nothing more than an empty fantasy. Yes, this is Hinamizawa. Everything I've come to believe as common sense doesn't apply here. This village has a power strong enough to make the entire village believe crows are white from the bottom of their hearts. In other words, if the Sonozaki family refuses to alter their position, nothing will change.
私も園崎本家とかに掛け合ってみたんですけどね。全然ダメ。まあ八方塞がりってやつですよ。
After those harsh words, Shion laughed helplessly. Even so, I could gather from her exhausted expression that she did her best and fought as long as she could. Shion was always fighting in secret, all on her own, never complaining to anyone. I felt ashamed and anxious about my inability to do anything.
そんなこと言うためにわざわざここまで来たの。お疲れ様だったね、シオン。
Still mad?
お姉はずっとこのことから目を背けてきた。だから私が言ってあげたんじゃないですか。言い終わった？なら早く帰りなよ、シオン。ここにはあんたの席なんてない。
Based.
お姉は育児なしですね、ほんと。ばあさんのお許しが出なきゃ何一つ言えない。何一つできない臆病者の負け犬です。シオン、あんたにそこまで言う資格はないよ。よくも私にそんなことが言えたもんだね。
Then Mian clenched a fist and stared Shion down.
忘れたとは言わせないよ、シオン。
Yeah, remember what we did to your fingers?
私が今まで
Or,
どん
no.
な気持ちで生きてき
So
た
I'm
か。
not, thought she was threatening her.
シオン、あんたは知ってるでしょ。そんなの知らない。
Uh-oh.
だって私はミオンじゃない。寺に放り込まれた方のシオンですものね。シオン、あんた。だけど これだけは言えます。もしも私がお姉だったら黙っていない。
Obviously, they're referring to how Xian was Mion before, so she kind of went through some similar stuff as a kid, I assume.
仲間の窮地を知りながら見て見ぬふりなんてことは絶対しない。シオン、次期当主、聞いて呆れますね。園崎家だけじゃない、ひなみ沢全体にものすごい影響力を持ちながら何もしないんじゃ。当主なんてただのお飾りってことです。
Son kind of going hard. Xian's scathing remarks left Mion speechless. And as I listened to Xian's attacks, I felt her criticisms were probably valid.
あれ、何も言い返せない？ひょっとして泣いてます？ざまあないですね、お姉。園崎の次期ご当主様はこの程度でメソメソしちゃう臆病なお飾りさん
Now
なん
I
ですか？
feel bad. No bully. Even if slightly deserved. Xian's dry laughter echoed throughout the classroom. Everyone fell silent at the display of blind force. Then, after looking around the classroom, she continued venting her frustrations.
そうですよね。どうせあなたたちにとっては人事ですし。だからそうやって同情したふりして犠牲者気取って全部ふり、お芝居なんでしょ。そうやっていつまでもうじうじとやってればいいのです。とりあえずかわいそうかわいそうって口だけで念仏みたいに唱えてれば満足でしょうよ。
After saying that in a gruff voice, Xian decided she didn't want to waste any more time and began to make her way out of the classroom. Oh. Slapped? I merely tried to stop her, so I stretched out my hand toward her shoulder, but she suddenly turned back and my hand made contact with Xian's cheek. Okay, accidental slap? That's very weird. Oh, I guess like as he was reaching, she turned really fast and it made a slapping sound. Okay. The combination of movements caused my hand to stop her. That's a very odd way of doing it. Lol.
悪い。大丈夫か？
Actually an accident. That's hilarious.
こんなお姉の
Yeah,
肩なんか持って。
now it's creating some weird misunderstanding. That's kind of bullshit. After saying that, Shen rushed out of the room without waiting for a response.
待てって、勘違いするな、シオン。
Lol. That's actually hilarious. I can't. So bullshit. I rushed out after her. Then I moved in front of Xian and stretched my hands to block her path. Xian lightly clicked her tongue, then changed directions and opened the window. She then placed her hand on the window frame and jumped into the yard outside. Jesus Christ. Cat and mouse. I jumped out of the window to chase after her. Xian continued desperately trying to run away. Then, crossing the schoolyard at incredible speed, we both made our way toward the school gate. It was literally the worst accident ever. I'm sorry. Oh.
俺はサトコを助けるつもりだ。どんな手を使ってでも絶対助ける。
口先だけなら何とでも言えますよ。本心はどうだか。
口先なんかじゃねえ。お前が俺の本当の心ってやつを見たいって言うなら、
Oh God.
この場で心臓を引きずり出してやるさ。
After that declaration, Xian finally began to slow down. Sensing the opportunity, I desperately pumped my arms and kicked up my feet. Tackled? No, not tackled. Then I somehow managed to catch up and reached out to grab Xian's right hand. Oh, be careful not to slap her again, accidentally. After that move, she finally came to a halt.
ケイちゃん、今の言葉本当ですか？
Yeah, sure. Shian's voice was hoarse from heavy breathing. I silently responded with a forceful nod.
じゃあ見せてください。
Please cut your heart out right now.
ケイちゃんの心臓私見てみたいです。
Literally.
それは
I couldn't believe my ears. I thought she was joking for a moment there, but Shion turned to me with cold eyes and a blank expression.
お前マジに言ってるのか？
やっぱり口先だけですね。
Bruh, I mean, what do you want me to do? Lol?
違うって。それくらい真剣だってことを伝えたかったんだ俺は。
どいつもこいつも口先だけのザレ言ばっかり。嘘しかつけないのならいっそ永遠に黙って何も喋るな。
Well, that didn't work. The other attempt failed. Sorry, I couldn't cut my heart out. I don't know what she was actually, like, expecting, to be honest. After glaring at me with hatred in her eyes, she quickly turned her back and headed out to the school gate. Seen from her behind, it was a clear refusal, but I had nothing left to say to her, so I couldn't do anything to stop her. But as I surveyed my surroundings, I noticed something off in the distance. Was I unprepared? Were my words nothing but lies? Are you going to accept that, Keiichi Maibara? No excuses. I'm genuinely concerned about Satoko. I'll do anything to help her. Then, in that case...
おいシオ。
え？
What the? I firmly... Oh no, what's you see? I firmly clenched my fists, then dashed over to that something I noticed on the ground by the storehouse. Shion turned back with a look of astonishment. She couldn't comprehend my sudden behavior. I picked up... Oh, God. A large pair of gardening shears. Snip, snip. Then I took a deep breath and held the blades over my chest. Here you go, Shion. Literally. The two dark blades were dull and covered in rust, and they eerily glistened in the bright sunlight.
ケイちゃん、何する気なんですか？
Oh, sorry, I'm trying to convince you. Take a quick peek at my heart.
ちょっと何しようって言うんですか？冗談はやめてください。
I recognized that this was particularly unorthodox behavior, but right now, this seemed like the only way to get through to her. I looked down and slowly pressed the blade against my chest. Only my body could prove that what my mind had decided. My knees were fiercely trembling, and the skin touching the tip of the blade was burning hot. I could see an image of Satoko flash before my eyes. Just Satoko in the middle of pouring spoiled milk all over him. I clenched the handle of the shears with my fingers and put all my strength into them. Sorry. Too late. Your fault, Shion.
冗談でカッコつけるならマジ怒りますよ。
俺は死ぬ気なんかねえよ。
Bruh, it would be hilarious if he did it and the arc just ended. I exercised my heart.
今死んでたまるかよ。サトコが苦しんでるのに放り出して死ねるかよ。
ならどうしてですか？むちゃくちゃです、ケイちゃん。
俺の本心が見たいんだろ。俺はこの程度の傷で死なね
え。Yeah, just take a quick peek.
サトコを助けなきゃならねえから俺は死なねえ。
Loyalty proved. I opened my eyes for a moment. Shion was trembling as she gazed at me in disbelief.
見てろよ。
After that, I clenched the handle tighter and pressed the blade with more force. But suddenly, the blade completely stopped moving. When I opened my eyes, I saw Shion standing beside me, tightly grasping the blades of the shears.
シオン。
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Shion, you're the one who demanded he do it non-ironically, so you're cleaning up your own mess. The sky was clear and blue, only the sound of our tortured breathing echoed throughout the area. Eventually, Shion lifted her head and stared straight into my eyes.
わかった。信じます。ケイちゃんの 里子への気持ち。
Thank you.
おう、一人で戦うなよ。俺にも協力させてくれ、シオン。
Xian murmured that in a hoarse voice and nodded several times.
ケイちゃんを信じます。
俺もシオンを信じるよ。
A belief. It's time to be a duo, I guess.
一緒に頑張ろうぜ。
はい。けど
It'll be cleaner,
次に
maybe.
こんな芝居がかった真似
Or
したら
maybe you don't bump
承知しま
into
せんからね。
Tatana. Xian relaxed its expression after saying that. Then she flicked me in the forehead. Or maybe they won't tilt up, you know? Maybe the power of Xian and Teichi will find something else.
あいで。
Hey, only Satoko is allowed to get flicked in the forehead, Xian. That's illegal.
脅かした罰です。
Then we smiled at each other. It felt like an exchange as comrades in arms. Before I realized it, the noisy cry of the cicadas was replaced by the cool cry of the Higurashi. Were they encouraging us to charge boldly into the battlefield despite our inferior numbers? What do you mean? 2v1. Easy. Or maybe they were laughing at the futility of our struggle. Chapter break. Or end? Probably break. But this is gonna be a short episode, so we're actually gonna end it here. But let's go over the start of this brand new arc for a bit first, just to pad some time. So it's going differently than I thought. I thought there would be more unification. Though to be fair, I did say that like after starting that arc, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe Shion will appear, and she has, and she does like Satoko right now. Now right now it's a duo. I think there's a possibility that Rena will join in because she seemed pretty adamant too compared to the Rena we normally know, who's also passive and undecisive on this issue. Mion's tilted, she's not in. I don't think Rika will be in either because in Minadoroshi the whole point was to get Rika motivated, right? And she's probably just not right now, especially because we've seen Sumi Horoboshi how she's given up. I can assume like since this is in between, she's probably also given up after getting effed by Shion in Mayatashi. Also, it doesn't mean they'll kill him. They obviously won't get the Sonozaki support, and they will be acting as a group of two. I mean, they probably will kill him. Let's be honest. I think that's gonna be the answer. But like, they can kill him more efficiently. Maybe it'll go smoothly, and Teacher's just not in some random ass place. Another big thing though is now I just realized now that Mion is not helping, maybe the body won't disappear and they'll just get captured by Oishi. Since we know when Tepe comes back, he takes tabs on him because he suspects him to be more murdered because he's a pretty good target, right? So I think that's the big takeaway. Even if they do it successfully, they just get screwed over by Oishi. Hey, maybe they live though if they're taken to jail. Obviously Shianto Sonozaki too, but I don't I don't think she can like ask anyone to help her. I mean, Kasai would probably help her, but like not officially from anyone else, especially if Mion's fucking tilted at them. That was hilarious. We've never seen Mion just like we've seen her mad, but nothing like this mad. I mean, it's fair to say, like I'm sure like she gets asked a lot of favors as the Sonozaki family, next in line to be head. Um, and it's just the stress of things. Sure, she has something to blame because she's passive about the Satoko situation, but like, I can understand the frustration of having all this expectations and people. It's like kind of mooching off like a rich friend or something. Though obviously that's not really their fault, but it's just an awkward situation. Hopefully, I don't feel like she's gonna be much help though this arc. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. Very interesting. Getting back to the Paintoko arc. Happy ending? Probably not, because this is pre-Higurashi. Possibly though, it'll be better than what happened in Sumi, or not Sumi, Totoroshi. We'll have to see though. Thank you for watching. Thanks for watching this brand new arc. And hopefully you'll continue to join us as we go through the consorts. Until next time though, bye for now.